I became disillusioned when it was clear that climate change was not a priority here.
Up until the spring of 2019, Louis Ziska was a plant physiologist with the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Do people at the highest levels of leadership within USDA believe climate change is happening?
You'd have to ask them. I only know what I've read in the papers about folks like Sonny Perdue who don't seem to think it's real.
The head of agriculture for the United States may not think climate change is real.
From his own comments, it sounds like he agrees with others within the current administration that this is not evidence-based science.
In the spring of 2019, Ziska resigned because he felt science was now taking a backseat to ideology.
You're entitled to your own opinion. That's great. We're a free country, but you're not entitled to your own facts.
Facts, science, happening at places like this, a patchwork of green in the heartland of the United States, one of the most robust producers of corn and soybeans on the planet, 21 million acres here in Illinois alone.
This is your lab, huh?
Yes, yeah. We're lucky to have it.
It's what drew scientist Andrew Leakey from his home country of Scotland to the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign.
This is why I moved here, actually.
But the climate is changing this most fundamental way of life as well. It's what Louis Ziska has been sounding the alarm about. The carbon in the air is now changing the food coming from the ground.
So we are essentially going into your time machine, as you say.
Absolutely. So you've stepped from 2019 into the mid-century in terms of CO2 concentration.
Within this outlined space, these plants are getting gassed with 25% more carbon dioxide. Why? Well, that's the level scientists project our atmosphere will have in the year 2050.
I just heard the hissing sound.
That hisses, yeah. We're now on the upwind side of the plot, and if you reach out, you can probably feel some of the CO2. Yes, feel some of the CO2 coming out the backside of the plot there.
We humans need oxygen, as you know, but plants, they like carbon dioxide. They use it in a process called photosynthesis. So if you have more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, that should be good for plants, right? Well, sort of. It definitely can help plants grow bigger, but not necessarily better. That carbon gets turned into carbohydrates or sugar. It also makes it so these plants have less of the good stuff, like zinc, iron, and protein. It's turning some of the best foods we humans have into junkier food. That sounds like a significant problem. If some of the staples of our diet, some of the most commonly grown crops on the face of the earth are changing.
I think those of us in the developed world have the luxury of being able to go take a supplement or adjust what we buy at the supermarket, but there's around 2 billion people in the world who are already zinc and iron deficient, and there's also about 2 billion people who depend on the grains that they eat for their supply of zinc and iron.
It is one of the ways most of the world will first experience the impact of climate change. And no doubt, it's one of the most critical issues of our time. Which is why it was so shocking to learn that the USDA wouldn't even let Ziska talk to us about his study.
We tried to sit down with you earlier this year, as you may know, and then we were told you wouldn't be able to do it.
Right, and that was the first time that it happened. They said, no, we don't want you to talk to CNN.
When we asked why were we denied a chance to speak with Ziska, the agency said they didn't publicize his work because they had concerns about the nutritional claims in the paper. When pressed further about speaking with Ziska directly, the agency said there is no additional or new information to share. Ziska believes it was once again the agency putting ideology before science.
I'm a little worried now listening to you because I feel like, first of all, there's real concerns about what's happening with the climate, and then additional concerns that we're not being proactive about something that we could be proactive about.
Yes.
Should I be as worried as this is all sounding?
I think you should be worried, but I don't think you should give up hope. As I mentioned before, there are good people in these agencies, and they're just looking for an opportunity to put their skills and their abilities to use.
Taylor Dumpson's life changed forever within hours of becoming an American first.
Taylor Dumpson!
Dumpson went from being elected American University's first black female student body president in its 125-year history to being plunged into a world of hate.
I was on my way to campus. I was wearing an AK jacket, and I ended up having to take it off because the hate crime literally had the letters of the sorority on the bananas, and so me wearing that button down that I had just gotten was me walking around with a target on my back.
A still unidentified person committed the on-campus hate crime, stringing up bananas with nooses with the initials of the historically black sorority Dumpson belongs to and other racist messages. Days later, she was under attack online by neo-Nazis, spurred on by Andrew Anglin, the creator of one of the most prolific neo-Nazi websites.
He told his many, many followers to basically go get her.
A hate-filled feeding frenzy began when the website published her name, photo, contact information, and social media accounts. The Anti-Defamation League was the first to warn Dumpson. They emailed saying she had become a national target for hatred.
I was alone, home alone. The first thing I did was I closed my blinds, I locked all the doors, I turned all of the lights out, and in the way that people tell you when it's a hurricane or a tornado warning, to hide in a hallway and get small and you crouch down, that's what I did. I rocked in fetal position, sobbing and crying, and to the point where I had to take a screenshot of the email and send it to my mom and dad because I couldn't talk.
After months of online harassment, she was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress syndrome. Everything from her ability to study to her ability to eat was impacted.
I was terrified. I didn't know who these people were. I didn't know where they were. I didn't know if they were coming to find me. I didn't know if they knew where I was already.
Dumpson decided to fight back. With the help of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law, she sued some of the people investigators could find who trolled her. She sued the website and Anglin, its creator. What would you say to the Andrew Anglins of the world?
You picked the wrong one. And you picked somebody that wasn't going to back down.
Dumpson won her case.
To the best of our knowledge, this is the first court decision in the country that has held that online harassment can interfere with public accommodations.
The judgment equated online harassment with physical harassment.
Civil rights laws do not stop where the cloud begins.
Anglin did not respond for comment. Neither he nor a representative for his company showed up in court. The judge handed Dumpson a default $725,000 judgment. And separately, she received something almost no one does, a face-to-face apology, not from Anglin, but from one of the trolls. She agreed not to say his name or exactly the words exchanged as part of a restorative justice settlement. Online especially, people want to snap back, right? They want to clap back, they want to attack. And that's not what you did here.
I think that we always have the opportunity and the possibility to grow. And for me, it was really, really important to, even though you're a white supremacist, even though you're a neo-Nazi, even though you think like this, I don't think you're always going to think like that. And I don't think that it has to be that way.